Every day is a new beginning. Shine your light. It's a day and the world is waiting. Move along to the song, singing in your soul. Feel the beat, clap your hands, let it take control. All you need, all you want, are you ready to find your way? 'Cause every day is a new day.
Welcome to Wisconsin Family. I'm Janet Cresson.
And I'm Justin Riley, and we are on location today at the Monona Academy of Dance and Dance Wisconsin, just celebrating their 70th year in business. It's a milestone here and a cornerstone here of the Madison area. And we're in their new space, and we're really excited to be here.
Justin's just about to bust out a plie or something there.
Yes. I don't think anybody really wants to see that, so we'll skip that.
We're going to be chatting with the owner, Jean Rettram. You may know her already. She's an icon in the Madison dance community and
the national dance community.
The national dance community, yeah. And hear what's going on with fall registration. Maybe you want to get a little one, or actually, folks like us.
Yeah.
She's got classes for adults, too.
Adult classes.
I didn't remember that.
And she recently got certified to teach a progressing ballet technique, which is an exercise program for those who want to do a little bit of core strengthening, joint strengthening. So we'll hear a little bit about that, too.
I think we all could use a little bit of that.
Yeah.
We'll go from dance to dogs, talking with Doghouse University and talking about questions that we have about what it's like to have your dog in daycare, what you should bring on the first day.
Yeah, what's important. We're going to talk a little bit about leashes and the different schools of thought between the two different types of leashes, whether you have a retractable leash or a standard leash.
Mm-hmm.
So Nate's got some really good insight for us on that, so that's coming up.
We're also looking forward to winter, at least John Dobie is from Focus Board Shop. He sells snowboards, skateboards, longboards, and all the goods that go along with those things.
Absolutely, and there's ways he really wants everybody to get involved with boarding of some kind, whether it's snowboarding or skateboarding or all of the above. He thinks that's something for everybody. It's not just an esoteric activity. So he really wants to help you out. So if you don't know anything about that kind of stuff and you want to find out, head on over to Focus Board Shop and Dobie will help you out. So,
sounds good, yeah.
Yep. So that's coming up right after the break, so stick around here on Wisconsin Family.
Welcome back to Wisconsin Family. We've been filming today at the new Monona Academy of Dance and Dance Wisconsin. They have some new studios here, just a little hop in and skip off of the Beltline on South Stoughton Road. We're going to meet with the owner later, maybe take a look around, share it with you. Right now, though, we're thinking fall, and some folks are already looking forward to winter. This guy right here, this is John Dobie. He's the owner of Focus Board Shop. If you haven't heard of that place, we're going to talk about it right now. John, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So Focus Board Shop has actually been around a while, but might be new for viewers. How long have you been in business?
So just over 12 years. We opened our first shop by Best Buy on the east side, and then last fall we opened a second store over on the west side near CUNY Mutual on Middle Point Road. So we've kind of been around for a while now, but still finding new customers all the time.
And actually, I know when I first saw your name, I thought it was like board games.
Yeah.
So a quick synopsis of what you do.
Yeah, originally when we first had this store too, it was Focus Snow and Skate, and after a couple years I changed it because of how many people were coming in looking for inline skates or ice skates and all this kind of stuff too. So we do snowboards, skateboards, longboards, and kind of all the gear and clothing and stuff associated with that. And then we have a ton of kind of specific brands that we're the premier Burton dealer in the Madison area and one of the biggest Never Summer dealers in the Midwest. So we have a lot of kind of specialty lines that you can't really find elsewhere.
A different kind of fun and games.
Yeah.
Yeah, good way to put that. Good way to put that. So, you mentioned that you are the premier dealer of some of these kind of well-known name brands. Mm-hmm. What else would you say makes Focus Board Shop different from other places that, maybe sell some of the same products?
Yeah, I think so. I think a lot of people, maybe if they're just getting into snowboarding or skateboarding, have this idea that they need to have a certain level of like understanding of the sport or they're kind of intimidated to go to these places because they think that everyone there knows a bunch and is going to maybe like look down on them or that it's just like a not as inviting environment. And I think that's really where we kind of stand out, is like our stores are really big, open, very inviting. I mean, I'm all about turning people into snowboarders as a lifestyle more than just like selling somebody a product. So our whole thing is, that's perfect if you've just started, and we can help kind of guide you along the way, and you don't need to necessarily have to do all your own research ahead of time. It's fine if you know a lot and kind of have a specific idea, but that's kind of what we're there for too.
I like how you say that, because if somebody who goes into a situation like that where somebody might be looking down because you don't know, they're going to be turned away by that. But your goal is to turn people towards that. You want more people to be doing this.
Yeah, I want everybody to be a snowboarder or a skateboarder and be into the board sport. So for us, it's like, I'm happy for somebody to come in and be like, I have no idea about this, how do I get going? And that's definitely where we should come in and kind of help out.
And it's probably better that they do that rather than pretending that they know something. Just show them, say, look, I don't know anything, Dobie, help me out here.
Yeah, and sure, and some people do, they have a specific idea that they maybe come in thinking they want, like we get that with like the penny skateboards, they're plastic skateboards, and people really think like, oh, we want one of these for a kid, and they're like one of the hardest things to ride because they're so small and unstable.
Yeah.
So sometimes we're like, well, you should push both of these in the store and see what you think, and then maybe maybe they still buy what they thought they wanted, or maybe they buy something that's maybe more practical.
Yeah.
Well, Dobie, I love that you have such a welcoming environment, because everyone's got to start out somewhere.
For sure.
So I'm wondering, do you offer lessons? You sounds like you'd be a great person to give lessons.
Yeah, so we do, one of our guys that work for us, like he does most of the lessons just because he's been doing them for so long. I used to do like snowboard lessons and stuff, and not just too busy for that stuff, but we do 1 hour lessons, private lessons at pretty much all the skate parks, and that's great because then it's just like you and the instructor, you get to learn exactly what you want. And then we also started doing this Sunday like intro program that's built for people like just basics. They want to learn to push a skateboard or a longboard for the very first time, and that's like a half-hour lesson on Sundays before we open the shop. So that one's really good for the really novice, like I've never stood on or pushed a skateboard, and we can get you going.
Again, you got to start somewhere.
Yep.
Yeah.
We got to film a show down there. You and I got to get on the board.
I do it.
We have electric ones now too, so you don't even have to do the pushing.
Oh wow!
So,
no kidding. No kidding. So obviously, as people use their equipment, use their gear more and more, things might get a little out of whack. Do you do tune-ups for gear?
Yeah. So for skateboards, the kind of industry isn't necessarily built like where bikes and stuff, where you're necessarily, I guess, like paying to get it serviced or anything like that. Like if you have a skateboard or a longboard and your bearings go bad, you bring it in and you might buy the bearings, but we do all like the repairs and the replacement. That stuff's all free. And then like on snowboards, snowboards and skis, we wax and sharpen and do all that stuff to get you ready and keep you going throughout the season. So
You do skis too?
Yep, so we do all the waxing and sharpening. We just don't do anything with bindings as far as like calibrating them for your boots. That's its own ski kind of thing, and that we don't know as much about. But the bases are the same, so if I can wax a snowboard, I can wax some skis.
A little P-Tex, a little wax.
Yeah, everything's good.
You're good to go. Well, winter's just around the corner, Dobie. Hang in there.
yeah, it's coming. We're already getting a ton of snowboarding stuff into the shop, so it seems like it'll be here in no time.
All righty, we'll stop in if you're looking for some of that gear, maybe for someone you know. Thanks again. This is John Dobie. He is the owner of Focus Board Shop. They're on the east and the west side of Madison. And we're at Monona Academy of Dance, and we'll be right back.
Welcome back to Wisconsin Family. Janet and I have been filming here at the Monona Academy of Dance and Dance Wisconsin in their new location over on South Stoughton Road, and we're going to check in with Joe Jean later on in the program and just kind of check in and see how the transition is going. So we're excited to be here. But from dancing to dogs, we are now joined by Nate Mathis Vargas from Doghouse University. How are you, Nate?
Good, how are you?
Very good, very good. So people are going back to school now. They're kind of getting back into a more structured routine. Things aren't as open and fluid as they are usually during the summer. So obviously people are kind of taking into consideration what should we do with the dog.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about training classes, because before going back to doggy daycare, it's a good idea for people to put their dogs in training classes.
Absolutely. It's a good bonding experience for the dog and the owner, because they learn to take direction from you. I mean, even if you've already been to training classes before with a dog you've had in the past, or you've done training classes with the same dog, it's just good bonding for both of you. And whether it's either you doing it online and treating them, or you're taking a class in a group setting, I mean, all those things are beneficial for you and your dog. So I highly recommend training classes.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can say we own 2 dogs at home, and it's not often that we can have a full hour where it's just me and the dog, or my wife and the dog, just totally interacting with each other, undistracted.
Yeah.
So the point of that being a good bonding experience is a very good point.
Exactly, and then you learn things in the class. I mean, because a lot of the point of training classes isn't really training the dog; it's training the people how to train the dog.
Sure.
Because the instructor is talking to you about how to do these motions, and the dog is just following your directions. So. Doing it consistently at home after you take the classes, really helps. But that hour that you get to spend just focus on that one thing, and then they can see you giving them directions and the treats they get, obviously, it helps bond both of you, and they do well with that in any situation.
Can we talk about leashes?
Yes.
So, retractable versus standard. I'm a fan of the standard myself. I'm curious what you think.
Well, I am a fan of the standard as well. I mean, you have a lot more control, but I don't want to shame anybody who uses those other ones, because people feel strongly about this topic. But you have a lot more control with the standard leash, especially if you're walking. You're going to keep the dog closer to you. They're not going to keep going yo-yo out and back and forth. The other thing with those retractable leashes is if it does start to go out and say it slipped out of your hand and it drops to the ground, your dog's going to be chased by something, which is going to make them try to run away from you faster.
Wow.
Because this thing is bouncing behind them that they're not sure why it's there if they were spooked by something in the first place. Also, if it comes undone and you're walking and you wrap somebody up, or they get around a tree and you have to keep, it's just, those are good for taking them out in the backyard if you live in an apartment, so they can walk around and you're a fixed spot. But walking them down the street, those are not usually recommended. But
I have heard that you risk human and dog injuries when those can get wrapped around.
Yeah.
Also, I would think that you're teaching your dog to pull.
Yes,
because
exactly.
they're used to pulling and going where they want. So on a regular leash or a standard leash, they'd probably not be a very polite walker.
yes, exactly. I mean, the 4-foot or a 6-foot lead is much more, because your dog is being close to you is going to be a much more natural thing for them to follow you also. And with the retractable leashes, they will go out and come back and go out, and it just teaches them that they can kind of just do what they want to. And
pulling works.
Pulling works, and especially because those things make that sound when they click, then it can make them pull even further than they would naturally, because that noise will get them like, what? What was that? So
Interesting. I always just find it, because I'm a fan of the standard leashes too, I would just think that you'd want to have the leash wrapped around your hand a few times. I don't feel comfortable unless I have the leash wrapped around my hand a couple times, and you can't do that with
exactly.
the
I mean, they seem convenient, but so they have poop bags and stuff in them and all that good jazz. But I mean, you're much more controlled, and it's a lot more, safe with a standard leash. They're just much better.
Right. Let's talk a little bit about, let's go back to Doghouse University
Okay.
a little bit. Let's talk about appointments. If somebody wants to bring their dog in, do they have to do it on a recurring basis, or can you do one-time onlys or anything like that?
We don't require people to do every week or a set schedule, but we recommend it, especially in the fall, because we do get filled up, and people aren't going out as much as they do. But we try to be there for people's convenience. That's what we're there for. We're a convenience type business, so we want to fit your schedule, whatever works. If you want to, 1 week do Monday, Wednesday, Friday, the next week do Tuesday, Thursday, or come 1 day a week, or whatever the schedule might be, we try to accommodate any of those type of things. But we do set up appointments if people want to for a year out.
Oh wow, okay, for up to a year.
Yep, up to a year.
Great.
So Doghouse University is a doggy daycare. You have 2 locations, and can you give a shout out to the locations and then what people should expect for their first day?
Okay, we have a location on Johnson Street at 825. It's between Livingston and Patterson Street, about 6 blocks north of the Capitol. And our other location is on Park Street between St. Mary's and Meriter Hospital. The first day, you should bring along your vaccine records, anything that we have a profile for them to fill out. We'll go over that in the morning with them. If you want your dog to have a lunch, you can bring that with you, and obviously you have to bring them on a leash, and preferably a standard leash.
Preferably a standard leash. Good to know. Very good to know. Well, Nate and Mathis Vargas from Doghouse University, thank you so much for joining us today. We always learn something from you, which is what we're here for.
Yeah.
Don't go away. There's more Wisconsin Family coming up right after the break here at Monona Academy of Dance and Dance Wisconsin. Stick around.
And welcome back to Wisconsin Family. This is our final segment. Now we have a familiar face but a new space for you today in our program. With us is Jo Jean Rettram, and she's the owner of Monona Academy of Dance and Dance Wisconsin. That's where we're filming today, and they have a new location, new studios, and we're so glad to finally get to see them. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for having us here, and welcome.
I'm very excited to have you here in my new space.
Now, this seems very, very climactic for us to be
Yeah,
here, because
yes.
we've been hearing about this for months and months and months now, and we finally get to see it.
Yes.
And boy, does it deliver. It's a really, really nice space that you have.
Thank
So
you.
congratulations.
Thank
on
you.
that.
So let's recap. The business itself is 70 years old.
Yep, 70 years old this year.
You were at, oh, happy anniversary. You were at your old location for 35 years, and we're 1 mile away at
Yep.
a new location now. Okay, so tell us how things are going. What studio are we in right now?
This is Studio D.
D.
D, yes. So we have A, B, C. C's not done yet, and then D is our largest studio. So this is where we'll hold all our rehearsals, and when we do Nutcracker, we'll hold all our rehearsals here.
Okay. I wanted to ask, when I walked by your front door, it looked like there were some flowers, a little flower garden. Was that a tribute to your mom?
Yes.
Who
Yes.
started the business 70
Yes.
years ago.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that was very nice. I enjoyed
Yeah.
seeing that.
Yeah, that's awesome. So fall registration, we're going to talk about classes here. Fall registration is happening. Let's talk a little bit about why dance is so good for young kids.
Well, to me, it really helps children to focus and makes them aware of their body, you know, and of themselves. And especially, you know, like not everyone learns the same way. You know, a lot of people, you know, they're smart in the brain, but they're not so much smart streetwise. And so you have to really approach learning different ways. And so many of my dancers are just so smart, and not just smart in school, but, you know, smart taking care of themselves. And, you know, like my daughter moved to LA and she was 18 years old and she thought nothing of it. It was just like, yeah, I'm fine. You know, so,
I also think about starting and getting the little ones on stage so young, how today a lot of people are hiding behind their devices. They're communicating
Yes.
through their devices and yet don't feel comfortable. So imagine not feeling comfortable in interpersonal space versus being on stage.
Right.
So I imagine that would be a really neat thing that they might get
yeah,
from
it
it
builds
too.
a lot of self-confidence. You know, when a parent comes in, oh, my child is so shy, I say, well, we can take care of that.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's such a strong mind-body connection, you know, and I think it's like you said, it helps to build confidence for sure, but I think it's just so important to have that because, you know, we are becoming more disconnected, unfortunately.
Right.
in
From our own
society.
selves.
Yeah,
Right,
absolutely.
right.
Yep.
And it's so much fun performing, you know, and so when you see, you know, a child get up there and have a good time and smiling and
Wearing fun clothes or
Yes,
costumes,
yes,
sure.
yes.
So we've talked a lot about the little ones and even the ones that you train that go on into professional companies, but you have adult classes?
Yes, yeah, I'm really starting to, you know, promote more adult classes because I feel like adults, they don't take care of themselves.
Right.
You know, I got to get my child to class. Well, but you can't take care of your child if you're not taking care of yourself.
Right.
So, you know, I have teachers that can teach yoga and Pilates. This summer we had adult ballet classes and tap classes, and I'm going to promote more ballroom classes so partners can come out and dance together. It's just so much fun, you know, and you have to have that in your lives.
In the adult classes, I'm curious, are these people that did ballet when they were younger and they're like, hey, I want to dabble again? Or is it people that like, I've always wanted to try
Good
that?
question.
Both. Both
It's
of them.
both.
Yes, yes.
There you go.
Yeah.
One of the things that's so fascinating to me about ballet is that it really is the foundation of all of modern dance. I mean, hip hop comes from ballet.
Yes.
But I want to talk specifically about what is progressing ballet technique.
So progressing ballet technique is a new form of exercising to strengthen the body safely.
Okay.
Both for children, young children can do it, and adults. So it strengthens your core, it works a lot of your joints and your muscles around your joints, and you work it with small balls, big balls, and one of my other teachers and myself, we got certified in teaching that. So we really want to, you know, share this with people. I think we're the only people in the state that are teaching this, and the founder of this technique is from Australia.
Okay.
Did you just stand up a little taller?
I maybe a little bit. So is this an exercise routine or an
Yes.
exercise program?
Yes, exercise
with
program.
with its roots in ballet.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
So you would be using it in a class in and of itself, it sounds
Correct.
like. I
Correct.
see. And it's meant to enhance
Right.
whatever, I guess, line of dance you're.
Right.
It sounds like something like that would be great for somebody who, wants to get good exercise, wants to do the core strengthening, things like that, but maybe doesn't necessarily want to be up on stage performing or,
Right,
rehearsing.
but even people, like if you have back problems and you don't want to do all that boot camp and all that other stuff, this is a safe way to strengthen your body. Instead of doing, all that weightlifting and everything, you're using your own body. And
Take off the boots, put on your ballet shoes.
Well, speaking of performing, the Nutcracker auditions are coming up.
Yes.
Wow.
Now, and we should also give a shout out to your mom when we talk about the Nutcracker, because that was a big thing for her. She kept that going, and wasn't she in charge of costumes?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yeah. She did beautiful costumes, but now one of my teachers is sort of taking over. And anytime she gets sort of stuck making something, she'll look up and go, Jean, what should I do next? So she makes beautiful tutus and everything. So yeah, we're going into our 41st year of Nutcracker.
Amazing.
So it's very exciting.
So auditions.
They're September 10th, and we
Ooh.
take children 7 years of age and up. So we'll be holding our auditions then. And then we're also working right now on our fall show, which is October 7th at the Mitby Theater. And our theme is portraits of women and empowerment of women. So all my choreographers are women and putting pieces together. And we're also doing Aurora's Wedding, which is the third act of Sleeping Beauty.
Sure.
So we have our classical along with contemporary works. Yeah.
How does that second one work, the portrait of women? What would that look like?
Well, they're different contemporary pieces. So
Written by, choreographed
well, choreographed by different choreographers.
I see, okay.
That's very cool. And how can people get tickets to this event?
They can call the studio here for tickets because we'll be selling them here, and they can get them the night of the performance at the Mitby Theater.
At the Mitby Theater. Well, very cool. Sounds like there's always something for everybody at your shows. You
Yes.
get a little bit of the contemporary,
Yeah.
a little bit of the classical, and different varieties. You do
Yeah.
like the miniatures, the ballet miniatures.
Right,
So
right.
that's
And
fantastic.
I want people to enjoy coming to see a performance.
Right.
So
Right. Get them
I try-
hooked.
Yes.
Yep. There you go. Well, we always enjoy having you on, and we've especially enjoyed coming here today, and we look forward to checking in with you maybe a couple months from now. So
Thank you.
thanks for having us.
Thank you very much for having me.
And we have been Wisconsin Family here at the Monona Academy of Dance and Dance Wisconsin. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.